Hello, creative people! Welcome to Dragon Wagon Studio. I'm Sherry, and today I am going to show you how I made this beautiful piece. This is a Quartz Geode slice resin table, and I will show you step-by-step tips, tricks, all the good stuff on how to make this easy. And of course, I have all the supplies linked in the description. Also, while you're there, you know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe so I can bring you more content just like this. I started this off camera with a piece of MDF. I haven't decided on any colors for the geode itself yet, but that's okay, as today we are just doing the crystals. As you can see, I've already painted this with just a regular house paint that I already had a bunch of. So that was basically my primer coat. And then I started playing with this glass a little bit. Just put some glue gun on there just to stick some of them, but they're not staying because hot glue sucks. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now, before I pour this, I am going to put a backing on there. Make sure no epoxy leaks out. This is just a piece of foam board. I used it on my last one I did. That's why it's a little beat up and I'm recycling it. Put packing tape on. I've tried using cling wrap. I don't know if my cling wrap's too clingy, but it sticks to epoxy. Other people have had luck with it. Not me. And I don't mind that there's a little bit of texture and details in with the tape. That's going to give it just a little extra texture because I'm going to leave this clear. Without further ado, let's get gluing. So I'm going to try and do this as quick as possible because it hardens really, really fast. And I'm going to do it all right around here. So my last one leaked. So I'm going to kind of do an inner glue layer real quick here, and then I'm gonna do another layer after I got the foam board stuck to this. Alright, come on glue. It's already hardening up. Alright, stick this on quick. I'm gonna do the corners first. I've already boarded this. Start going around the edges. Alright. Next. Don't know why I'm recording all this. The most boringest fucking thing to watch. I'm so boring, so boring. I'll give that a second. I'll double check my seam really good before I unplug this thing. I think we're good. Flippy flip. Onto the fun part. Let's throw these guys in there. This is what I'm going for. All these sparklies. Just gonna put these all on the edge. I'm gonna have to babysit these for a while because they like to go back into the middle, but here we go. Put some clear on there. I only mixed up about 120 mils. So I'm not going to do the whole thing all at once. I got a lot of bubbles doing that last time. Just because of all the glass. The bubbles like to hide in there. So let's get these all soaked up in resin. All sticky, get all those bubbles out. Look at that. It's just meant to be. They're just cooperating so wonderfully. I'm gonna push all these guys back out. And that's totally coming right off that packing tape underneath there. So that should be pretty awesome for removal. Should be pretty easy. No fighting with stupid masking tape. Alright, let's get some more glass on this side. Some over here. A little more resin in there on those guys and those guys. Alright, mix these guys up. We're going to torch some heat before we put any more on. Kind of want to build that side up a bit. That's another reason why I'm not going to pour it all in one shot. I also pre-mixed my epoxy like 15-20 minutes ago, so it's kind of already starting to set up. This epoxy I'm working with is a tabletop, and it has a 30-minute work time, so we're starting to get to the little sludgy stage of the process. Alright, let's give it some heat. Burn, baby, burn! Metaphorically. Just using a low setting, I'm not looking to push anything around. I'm going to keep those bubbles kind of down at bay before I put another one in. Instead, I like to hide in all these little crooks and crannies. Push these guys over a little bit more. We really don't want any of them in the middle. I guess I could have put a glue gun barrier, but I really don't want any glue in this. It's just really glue to have for longevity. Just going to keep pouring in the middle so all that epoxy keeps those gems pushed to the edge. Not gems, crushed glass. Gems will be next. Alright. Let's give it some heat. Okay. So now I'm going to let this sit for like, I don't know, probably an hour. And I'm going to come back and put some more gems in. Like actual gems, like quartz. We're going to start sticking those in and around. And I'll let that set up as is. And I'll also be constantly babysitting it and scooping these little dudes around. Kind of keep them up. But I won't be adding any more epoxy until this layer has completely dried. That was my one mistake the last time with these. And it turned out so awful I cried. Okay. BRB. It's been an hour. And we're looking nice and crystal clear. And I love it. Because this is not what happened in my last one. So now, let's play with some rocks. I'm just going to pick up some rando pieces. Some other ones too. Look at all these. Make sure you guys are sourcing out local because these are way cheaper than buying it online. Trust me, I looked. There's something. There's one, a couple kind of pokies. I'll probably end up fast forwarding a bunch of this because I'll get kind of indecisive on this real quick. Kind of want like a big chunk in here, but you're going to take away from all that beautifulness you did. Right in these corners, all the crushed glass. This one's cool. I definitely want this one. I don't know if these clusters are going to work. Just shove them down in there and kind of wiggle them a bit. See, it's nice and sticky now where you can actually stick these in nice. And they'll just chill there until we do our next pour tomorrow. Oh, I'm excited for that already. It looks awesome. If you're doing stuff like this, you always want to do odd numbers. For whatever reason that is, that's the magic number. Well, 3s, 5s, 7s, whatever. Do everything in parallel. It looks too set up. This is more natural. It's kind of how they grow. Like these, they grow in little clumps like that, right? In a big, huge sphere. Just keep playing with it. Just keep playing with it. I need a bigger one here. Nice big chunk. Ooh, that's kind of a nice piece. I love all of these. What's this guy? I don't want to put a couple of these guys in there. A little bit more shiny bling in there. I'll just kind of put them a little around randomly. No, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. Walk away. If I need a glove, I'm gonna squish these crystals back in first. Kinda that's nice and tacky. Perfect time for this. Perfect! Don't worry about that tackiness right now. Remember, we're putting another layer on top. Ooh, you don't want to stay in there. I'm gonna make you stay in there, so stop it. Cool. Now let's hit it with some heat, because I just pulled up a bunch of layers. To soften that tackiness up a little bit so it stays nice and level. And epoxy will melt a little bit around these quartz crystals. Ah, exciting. I'm not going to sleep again out of this excitement. I'll be thinking about this all night. We'll see you tomorrow. Okie dokie. It is the next day, and we are going to take the back part off here. Yeah, I want to see how nice and clear that turned out and see if we got any little bit of textures from that tape. I'm actually going to put this on a towel because I put the crystals in it, so I'm going to lie flat to rip this off. Just to protect these guys a little bit. There'll be some pressures applied. Ugh, this is definitely a dog towel. Bloody paw prints or something on here. Okay. I need a knife and a putty knife. Okay. Actually, just doing this. Don't want to put too much pressure on there. I'll pop all my crystals out. I'll break them. Big guys, anyways. I'm just going to try and cut it this way. Instead of going under, we can just pop that out. Is my plan. Which can mean an entirely different outcome. Ooh, I glued her good. Glued her good, boys. Oh. Cheat it. Cheat it. Don't worry about your paint coming off. That can easily be touched up at any point. There we go. Never protected for the wood anyway. So this is just an MDF board, if I didn't mention that earlier. And I just freehand drew a shape and cut it with a jigsaw. Actually, I made someone else cut it with a jigsaw. You know what I mean. I'm also gonna she-hulk it off. See? Aggression is always better. And it still has some leakage. We definitely got some textures. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that a little bit. Kind of some ripples in there. What the bottom looks like with all the glass. Yeah, definitely got some indents there. That's pretty funky. Kind of like how that looks. Don't like there's water in the bottom. I always put a little tint of blue. That may be something. Anyway, overcomplicating things here. Now I'm going to mix up some epoxy. And we're going to do the same thing we did yesterday. Some of this, a couple of those. Probably won't do any more quartz, but I am going to build this up, and we are going to fill right to the rim today with the rest of the clear coat. Good old solo cups. Everyone's got these kicking around somewhere. Just going to do the old quarter cup again, which is 62.5 milliliters. If you want the technical math on it. Good old baby wipe trick. Spray with alcohol. I use isopropanol, but whatever. Same, different. Always do the thicker stuff first. It's easier to mix it. Put your lids back on before you open the other one. I made that mistake and mixed. I think my 6-in-1 was what did it in the end. Good old painter's tools. There we go. Okay. So, remember yesterday when I said we are going to have to get back in behind these quartz crystals there because there's going to be gaps and we're going to get bubbles and all kinds of nasty things. So I'm going to start pouring in there first and get that to kind of settle in there. And then I'll start filling up some gems. I'm saying gems, crushed glass. Oops, a little too much at a time. Just trying to do a little bit so it settles. A little bit at a time, get rid of the bubbles, another little bit. Oops. Okay, let's get some heat first. It's a good start. It's a good start. Just flowing there, that's flowing, good. A little flowy. Okay, that's kind of built up there. See it better when you're pouring it, that's for sure. When it settles. When we fill the rest of this, will be fine, but I want to get those little areas first, and no surprise bubbles later. Try and do it right the first time. Alright, let's add some crushed glass. Same as yesterday. I'm a little more meticulous today. Oh. Oh, it just gives that an extra depth. Like already, and we just started. Oh man, it's so exciting. I love this stuff. Shove some more in those tiny little corners that we just filled. Alright. Oh my god. I'm loving how this is looking. So I'm just gonna gently tap some of these in there, make sure they're in there really good. They're just kind of sitting on top there. Then I'll just pour some more epoxy in. See, these guys are just sitting there. There's nothing sticking them. There we go. Well, that hole's finally filled there, so that's good. So now we're going to go and push these guys back. Just like we did yesterday. We'll just kind of pour some of this in there. Fill to the line. We're not going over, are we? Alright, I think we got it, boys and girls. Hit me with some heat, baby. Okay. So, another layer here. Another layer here, just on this very edge. To have that depth. Ew, what's that? Ew, that's a stick. Out of here. So I am going to babysit this again over the next hour-ish. This is 30-minute working epoxy time. 30-minute time limit. Call it quits for now. We babysit this, and then tomorrow we're on to the color. That's going to be the fun part. Okay guys, it is time for all the colors. I went and I looked at a bunch of geodes online. Actually, I forgot the one I actually physically have. Let's see it good here. There we go. Try and get some sparkle in there. So that's what a real quartz geode looks like without just looking at a picture. See the depth in there and all the nice beautiful sparklies. With that, there's not a heck of a lot of color. But this can be quite boring if we're not going to add any colors into it, and that's not our intention because we want this to be as beautiful as possible. That is the end goal, I mean. So I printed off a bunch of these, and one thing I did notice, there are some hints of blue. So I went through and I picked out the lightest colors of blue that I got. This one's kind of more of a purpley silvery kind of blue, and then you got the azure and just a light blue. I also got some white here because obviously we're going to be using that. And then I'm going to do some highlights with the silver. And I got this coffee color just because, like, you look in the smoky quartz, you got some kind of brownish tones coming through. Some brownish tones in there, and some brownish tones in here. Even in here and some of the shadows. So I might lighten it a little bit. I'm definitely going to lighten the silver a bit with the white. Just want to put a couple peekaboos in there, you know how you go through with the gold pens just to give that extra depth. So that's kind of my plan with that. I'm not using any alcohol inks at all. Oh, here's another better one. That's like the bluest one I can find that wasn't completely dyed. If you find quartz and it's colored, it's dyed. Unless it's rose or smoky. And it's not worth anything. Alright, moving on. I am not using alcohol inks because they are unpredictable and they will spread. Sticking with the mica powders so I can have a more controlled layering. But before we get to that part, I better plug in my glue gun. Get that hot. We gotta protect our crystals and all that hard work we did. So my plan here was to go and build a dam all along here. Just to make sure I have no colors bleeding into this. I had that happen and it sucked. You put all this hard work into positioning your glass and your crystals, and then just for it to have color poured over and now you can't see it. So, those rhinestones are nice in there. I'm glad I added them. They're just kind of little subtle little blings in there. I mean, they're not naturally occurring, so. Anywho, that's what I'm gonna do. Get the glue gun going. You guys are probably like, why is she doing this? Well, aside from the leakage, yes, there will be a layer of color that will build up, and I will have probably no more than 1/8 of an inch of color built up. But I will fill it again with clear at the very end. But I don't want any color leaking in. So I'm doing this, and then we'll just fill the holes in later with some clear. No biggie. Okay, let's get this glue gun business underway so we can do the fun part. I've been so pumped for this for so long. That's all pretty good. There's a little spot there. I see you in there. We don't want you in there, resin. Oh, there we go. Kind of clean it up a little bit more. This stuff will stick in your epoxy forever and ever and ever. There's no way out once it gets in. Okay. Fun time. Mixing epoxy time. I will pause this so I do not torture you with my mixing. Alright guys. So, I got my epoxy all mixed up. You'll see it off to the left there. It's chilling in some hot water. And you may ask, well, why? Because when I'm mixing bigger pours, I use a drill and it gives a ton of bubbles. So I'm letting it chill in some hot water. Not boiling hot, just half hot. Let's get some of the bubbles out because it was literally just milky white before with bubbles. So I'm just going to let that chill there. But I got a dam built out of tape. Typically I'd use butyl tape, but I couldn't find it. So we're going to use the old painter's tape today. And I normally would never ever do this, but since I'm planning on peeling it off in 4 hours, very important, set an alarm. Otherwise, you're going to be sanding this off because it will not come off if you let it cure on there. So we don't want our epoxy spilling over right away. We want it to set up and get thick before we pull this off. That way you're not going to have that whole top layer flood over. We're only going to have a little bit, and that's going to be great because I'll cover up the 1/2 inch of just white that's showing on the sides. And they'll be nice and clean, and we won't have a whole bunch of extra epoxy underneath, which I never taped because they'll just be a pain in the ass when I have to go sand it. So yeah, that is where we are. And that is my explanation for that. Moving on. Get stuff out of the hot water here. Oh yeah, that's way better. See, look at that. Look at all those bubbles. Just chilling in there. I also don't know where my cured stick is, so I'm using a brand new stick, which is putting more bubbles in it because wood is porous. Much better, much better. All right. I don't even know where I want to start. Where's those pictures? Kind of really like how there's a bunch of blues in this one. It's kind of similar to what we got going on here. So maybe I'll start off with just going white around this edge first. I think they'll blend in better with the crystals and the clear. I'll start with a white. And then I'll just move out and we'll just This is the Winging It Club. What am I doing planning?
Move it on the ground.
You see how I put my mica powder in first, and now I'm mixing it and it's not all over the place? Oh yeah, look at that. See that little bit of white in there? It made it look perfect. Just looked way too dark in the bag. We're azure blue. By the way, I mixed up 200 mils, if you guys were wondering. I don't think I mentioned that yet. Oh man, I'm so excited for this. I've been waiting so long. I'll try the silver up there. See if this was better. Better lighting. Alright, this one was the light blue. I wrote on the cups. Scrape your sides and bottoms, especially since that's where the mica powder is sitting. Light blue there. It's almost a bit transparent still. Might actually add some more. Or I might leave it. You know, I'm gonna leave it. I mean, quartz is just really reflecting the light, so it can really mean any color, or be any color. English is hard. And this was that zine blue, whatever that means. Maybe it's German. I just like that kind of purple hue, and this one's very transparent. See? Poof, 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 poof. Ah, gone forever. Way better. A little bit hue of that purple. It's still got a little bit of transparency to it, but now you can see the color. Next, we got the coffee. Oof, that's dark. That's real dark. Oh, it's kind of reddish tone to it. Look at that. Let's try this gold. See if I can tone that down a bit. I don't want to add too much more. You only want 6% pigment or you're going to be jeopardizing your cure. And I definitely got more than 6% in there for that amount, so let's not play with it too much more. Oh, kind of didn't really mix together. Actually, that's kind of neat. So I actually got both the colors are repelling. Or white. And we use the white glitter in here. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, so sparkly. Look at that. That's nice. I like that. Alright, awesome. Well, this is where we're starting, so ready, angle, and pour. I have to pour on my gems. Different angle here. Go too fast, slow it. Slow down, we don't want the bubbles. I'm just gonna tell it where I want it to be. Okay. Now we'll do the azure. That's the pretty blue. Light blue. Let's do a bead of silver actually. What's a bad call? Okay, well, I'm gonna throw, I don't know about this coffee color, I really don't. I'm gonna just do it a little bit lightly on the edges, just to see what it looks like. Just kind of random in these larger spots. Mixed it, I might as well use it, and if I don't like it, I can go over it another time. And then we'll use this azure since it's so dark, and I'm gonna mix the purple color in with this, and we'll just go around the edges here. And just push that brown over. Well, let's go through some silver on the edge here. Now we're going to go through with my light blue. Again, I'm just going to keep alternating colors till I fill it. I'm going to try and get rid of this guy. It's purple. I'm not really liking that at all. Yeah, that purple sucks. I don't like it at all. It's just like out there like a sore thumb, like the elephant in the room. Not a fan. Alright. This there. This out some more. This out some more. Put this in that purple. Get rid of it. Now we're gonna go with some white. Because line a little more distinct in there. Got white going through there like that. I got a white going through here. Okay, that's that. And silver. Now we're going with the silver. I'm going to fill up this line a little bit more and push this out to the edge. Same with this. And push this brown off. That is first layer poured. Yeah, this purple sucks. Mix it in with this brown. Up to the edge. To the edge. To the edge, I say. Alright. Marvelous. First layer done. Let's give her some heat. I'm actually going to torch it too. So I just noticed there's a lot of bubbles because I used my drill. There we go. Look how shiny that is. Oh my gosh, that's looking cool now. Okay, I don't regret the brown yet. I dulled down the purple. Azure's still pretty bright, but it's giving it a nice effect. I do like this area more though. It looks more realistic. 4 hours on the clock. Come pull our tape off after we're done. And then I'll see you for around, what are we at now? 7? I don't know. Anyway. Okay, let's take this tape off real quick. It's been just over 4 hours. Stirring the bottom here, I know it's leaking there. There we go. Maybe. Yeah. See, a little over 4 hours. And that is what we're dealing with. Let's get into that. Oh, yep, that extra half an hour makes a difference. Alright, there we have it. Now we'll have all our edges drip over nicely. We won't have a bunch of gummed up epoxy on the bottom. And then tomorrow we can do our next layer. So I'll see you guys then. It's been about a week since I have done anything with this. I went and I pulled out all the glue in here. I did not do this on camera just to save you the tediousness and me slicing my hands open. I just went through and used a heat gun just to soften up the glue. And then these two tools. You don't want to use a box cutter because they slide and you will lose control. So if you have one of these babies or track one down, they're at any art supply store. And they're super cheap. You get them like maybe $6. This I found at Dollar Tree for $1.75. It's actually a Cricut tool. Dollar Tree has the knockoff versions of those. So if you can't find Dollar Tree around you, Princess Auto also sells picks very cheap. Don't need to buy overinflated prices on Amazon. Anyway, going forward. So I got my epoxy mixed up. We're going to do another coat. Today we're going to fill this up with clear. And we're actually going to do our final coat. I'm going to add some more of the coffee color on the edges. Because all our edges are not covered. I went and I sanded off all of the bubbles that we had, the drips. The underneath is very ugly. Because I went and sanded off all those drips. I'm not worried about it right now because we can just paint it when we're done. But for today, which way did I have this now? Re-level that. So I'm going to start with pouring some clear in the middle and we're going to fill that up. We're going to get rid of all this ugliness now that I've gone and scraped up all that awful glue. And just as a refresh, I did that because I do not want cheap materials in my projects. Hot glue will deteriorate over time, and depending on the brand that you're using, it can yellow. Now just imagine you sold this piece to a customer and a couple years later they're getting a hold of you because their project is yellowing where you had hot glue. So we don't want that. You save yourself the embarrassment, save yourself bad reputation and using cheap products. Take it out or just skip that step altogether. Especially people with arthritis, you're gonna hate pulling all that out like I did and slice my hands. Also wear mechanics gloves if you are doing that. I did not have mine on me. I think they're in my camper. I couldn't find them, so hence why I sliced my hands open. Moving forward. So the 4 colors I'm using today will be the silver that will be lightened up with the super white. We'll also be using the white separately. I'm gonna use this light blue, which is this color in here. And the coffee, which was the outside brown color. I'm not doing the azure or the purple. I think they're already too bright for this project, so I'm going to try and tone that down a bit, which is why we added the coffee, just to give that a little bit of offset to offset that brightness of the purple and the blue. So I'm going to do mostly a clear coat. I'm going to do a little bit of white highlights, but we're going to keep the blue and the colors on the edges, just so I can have some color bleed over. Today we are not taping the edge. We want this bleed over. We want the colors covering up the edges of our paint on our table. My little scoopy spoon. Start the light colors. I'm just going to use the same spoon. So I'm going to do a big dollop for white. A little bit of white for the silver. So there you go. Oh yes, we used white glitter in the white too, didn't we? Almost forgot. Can't forget our sparkles. Let's throw a couple scoops of that in there. Light blue. Need that much. I don't want it really opaque. I kind of want it transparent, so I don't want a lot. We're not trying to cover the colors, we're just trying to add a little bit of depth. Like we're just going for some extra color on the edges just to cover all that up. We want to keep this all nice. We like how that's going, just adding color to the edges. And we definitely don't want any color bleeding into the middle because we did actually have some right here. That little bit of white bled in and right here. So I did have a couple leaky spots when I peeled off all this glue, which is why we put the glue there in the first place. It happens. What do you do? Get in behind our crystals till we open that space back up when we pulled all our glue out. We hit it with some heat and there's a lot of bubbles. Leave that for now. Now let's get some color in here. Just kind of going around randomly. I'm just going to go around the edge with this coffee color. a little in there. Kind of keep my colors to the edge. Now we're going to go into some more clear. Just kind of get these guys mixing together. Now I'm going to paint. Since we got some drips happening now, we're going to paint this. I'll scoop that back up, use it as paint. Get that edge covered. Gonna let that sit. Coming back in half an hour, popping again. Coming back another half an hour, popping again. We're gonna babysit this. We don't want any bubbles, and I'm really hoping I don't have to put another coat on. If I do, c'est la vie. We've been working on this for quite a few weeks now, so let's try and get a finished product in here and get some legs on this. We will come back when this is dry, and I will see what my thoughts are, if we will do another coat, or if we will just leave it as is. We will see you when this is dry in 24 hours. Alright guys, I swear to God, I hope this is the last video I have to make on this piece. I don't even know what number I'm on now. Part 25? Not sure. So, I went and finished the back today. Got that all painted up, sanded it down. Still have some resin overpour, but that's fine. I mean, you don't see the back at all. Like, this is going to be in someone's living room as a table. You're never going to see that. So I just cleaned it up a little bit. I'm still kind of not happy with the edges. And we got some color that covered over here. This covered pretty good, but then we got some not very appealing spots here. So I decided that I'm going to do a silver leaf trim and finally call it there. And I think I'll finally be done with this and be happy with it. So I'm going to use some polyurethane, fast drying by Binlax. Oops, you're not supposed to shake that. That's more of a rolling to mix that. And then I'm just going to do a light brush. I'm going to use that as my glue. Polyurethane will stick to resin as long as the resin has been totally cured. Now this has been sitting for probably at least a month. It's definitely totally cured. Totally cured would be around 7 days for most resins. So this is definitely good to go. So I'm just going to brush on a light layer, stick my silver leaf on. And then once it all dries, I'll let it dry for a few days, and then I might go over and do another clear coat. We'll see what it looks like when it's done, but polyurethane will treat that as a clear coat forever and ever and ever too, so another resin coating is probably not going to be necessary, but we'll see what it looks like. So I am going to put some music on in my mask because this stuff is toxic to breathe in, so I won't be talking throughout the rest of this. It'll just be some music. And here we go. Okay, guys. So that is it for today. I'm gonna let this dry, and then tomorrow I'll go at it again. Well, I can do it again in a couple hours. 3 to 4 hours. You can lay in another coat, and then I'll just touch up those little spaces that didn't stick quite all the way. This one here. There's a couple little ones in there, so we'll just touch those up again. You know, this polyurethane is an oil base, so if you plan on using that, make sure you have a solvent to clean up after it. Oil base, you will need special solvents to clean your brush. They do not clean up with water and soap. They are not water based. That will not work. So there you have it, creative peeps. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I love to bring you more content just like this. You can also check out my website at www.dragonwagonstudio.ca. If you're looking for any kind of inspiration or you want to buy some of my art, check it out. I also do have a fan base page where you can display your very own artwork on my website, absolutely free. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up down below. You guys know what to do. I will read them and I will respond, and I do appreciate all of your input. So thank you so much. Till next time, stay creative, peeps.